Hi, welcome to Learning Audio Visually. Today we will be learning about the characteristics of culture. The concept of culture is very difficult to define, so on this video we'll approach this question by describing some of the defining features of culture. Culture is learned. Human beings absorb the culture that surrounds them through learning, and they do so in three main ways. Through instruction, from teachings received in educational institutions such as kindergartens and schools, as well as from parents and other close family. Through discipline, not only from parents, family, and teachers, but also from society's institutions that enforce the law and authority. And through imitation, human beings have a tendency to replicate what they observe, so many of our cultural behaviors happen because we are imitating what the people around us do. Culture feels normal to the people that share it. In some cultures, it is normal to enter somebody's home without removing our shoes. However, in some other cultures, like for example Japan, the normal thing to do is to take off one's own shoes when entering a home. This means that, for example, in certain countries in Latin America, some people might feel it is a little bit abnormal to take off your shoes when entering a home. But it is likely that a Japanese person, on the other hand, would feel the opposite. Culture is unconscious. The ways by which human beings perceive the world and their cultural behaviors exist deep in our minds without us even realizing. Take, for example, this video of a few Italians doing gestures while speaking on the phone. Certainly, in Italian culture, gestures and other types of body language tend to be very important in face-to-face communication.
Devono parlare con le mani perché, oltre a parlare, si esprimono soprattutto con I gesti.
Professor Poggi has identified around 250 hand gestures that Italians use in everyday conversation.
Ci stanno I gesti di insulto, I gesti di supplica, I gesti di promessa.
However, when communicating by phone, the other person cannot see their body language. This begs the question, why are the Italians in this video making gestures then? Well, the answer is quite simple. They are unconsciously doing them because their culture has conditioned them to do so. Culture is symbolic because it is a shared system of interdependent and abstract meanings and ideas. Language is a prime example of this. It is through language that cultures assign meaning to symbolic systems and behaviors. If I asked you to name the symbols you are seeing in the screen, and if your main language is English, you would probably say an I or an L, a moon, a minus sign, etc. But if we rearrange them, you'll see how different cultures around the world assign particular meanings to these symbols. And the way cultures assign these meanings is quite arbitrary. If we look at the many meanings the color red has across cultures, we'll see that in China, it is usually associated with good luck. In some Western countries, it can mean danger or passion. And in India, it can sometimes symbolize purity. If you are wondering why, though, one way to answer this is that, due to historical and circumstantial reasons, cultures tend to arbitrarily assign meanings to the elements that surround us. Culture is patterned. Anthropologist Ruth Benedict once explained that each culture exhibits a unique and more or less consistent pattern of thought and action. Indeed, if we look at different cultures around the world, we can identify distinctive patterns in the way they dress, in the way they behave, in the way they celebrate special occasions, in their religious practices, and many other examples. These cultural patterns give a sense of uniformity and uniqueness to each culture. But this doesn't mean that everyone from a same culture is the same, because cultures are also diverse. For example, if we talk about British culture, we would first need to recognize that the United Kingdom is comprised by 4 different countries: England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, each with their own distinctive culture. Each region, county, and even city has its own culture as well, such as its own cuisine, its own architecture, and even its own linguistic identity. There are over 40 different accents and dialects in the whole of the UK. This cultural diversity that exists within cultures is not only geographical. For instance, there are also generational differences. Britons from across all age groups may exhibit differences in their habits, in their preferences, where they prefer to live, and even in their beliefs and ways of thinking. As an illustration of this, statistics show that Britons of younger age groups had a tendency to have positive attitudes towards remaining as a part of the European Union, and vice versa. This generational difference in patterns of thought and action leads us to our next characteristic. Culture is dynamic. Culture is not static. Things like foods, fashion, customs, traditions, language, attitudes, behaviors, norms, beliefs, values, etc. They all change throughout time. The Back to the Future movie series are an excellent metaphor for this. In these movies, the protagonist time travels, experiencing how the culture of a small fictionalized town changes through time in 4 different eras. And, for last but not least, culture is complex. What we understand as culture is comprised and influenced by a wide range of ever-changing components and factors, too many to even be able to show in this screen. And they are all interconnected, forming a complex and dynamic entity that is more than the sum of its parts. I hope this video was helpful for understanding a little bit more about culture. If you liked this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Special thanks to Professor Kip Cates for inspiring the content of this video. Let us know in the comments if you have any other ideas and examples on how to characterize culture.